we say something that we didn't mean to, that could be interpreted as damaging someone's reputation. So with that addition of the non-public session, any other comments on the agenda? I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Second.
Seconded by Nancy, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
3-0. Next is approval of the minutes of 7/9/24. I had a couple of minor things.
Same here.
Same
Probably,
here.
we probably all the same ones.
I think Jennifer puts them in just to see if we're really reading these things.
Yeah. Little Easter eggs she wants us to find, yes.
Not really. It's kind of disappointing.
They're very simple, they're just keystroke stuff.
Okay.
Did you, I have on, under the DPW report number 4, on bullet 3, the road is Grisson,
Oh.
Grison,
Mm-hmm.
Grisson.
Yep.
Yep, I had that, yep.
And then somewhere else, the Eidelweiss is under item 5, under Ian, from Simply Water at 9:55. Eidelweiss is just a little typo there, it's WEISS.
Yep. I've done that
Yep.
before.
Everybody's done that.
Right.
Everybody's butchered that in different ways.
Because the old rule, I before E, except after C, but in this case, no.
It's usually the I after E, the EID.
Yeah.
That's the two I had, two typos.
Okay.
That's the two I had.
Okay.
Nothing else.
The one other thing that I had was that at the very beginning, the first paragraph, it doesn't list Ian as being present.
Because he showed up at 9, right?
Oh, gotcha.
Right.
Right. Okay. Did you want me to put that in?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I guess we have to include all who were present.
With those notifications, all in favor of approving these minutes, say aye.
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 3-0. Next on the agenda is the approval of 2 manifests, one for operation, and the operations manifest is for $4,219.46. So for discussion, I'll make a motion that we approve this manifest.
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, I have one area I have a question on that has to do with the Eversource amount listed of $1,363.97. When I took the electrical bills that were for the operating manifest, not the water manifest, I came up with a total of $1,338.23. How I did that was, I don't know what I'm missing. The bills that look like this, I add those all up, and
Yeah.
that came up to $1,264.32. Then there was another bill at the end with a bottom line total delivery service, $73.91. Is that the correct part of it?
No.
Yes?
No, the way that this is set up is the way that it's billed is that we agreed to start paying from the water, from the operations. However, there's a water portion
Right.
that needs to be adjusted.
I
Yeah.
understand that.
Mhm.
And when you look at the manifest from the water portion, all the electrical bills that were attached, these ones, they look identical, added up to what's on the water manifest of
Okay.
818.19.
Yeah.
That was a total, that tallied perfectly. But I have basically I have what appears to be an overpayment of $25.74 on what's listed here of what we're putting into the manifest versus what I added up. So I'm missing something somewhere.
Okay. I don't know. I can't speak to it right now,
Okay.
so.
I was gonna bring up Eversource under my commissioner's report, but seeing how we have it in your hand, I think I'll do it now.
Okay?
do we have a rate? I was looking for the actual rate per kilowatt hour we pay on that. So while you look to see whether you could see a rate, because I couldn't find one. You
Well,
you see
take
that
these
there is
ones.
something that divides, they're dividing how much it was being paid. We're paying a company called First Point Power, which is a third party that the previous board signed a short-term agreement with that expired in June, I believe.
Jeez.
And then then you see that they have the cost to deliver electricity from Eversource.
Right.
So here's the thing is, we had voted in 2023 to investigate and pursue joining the New Hampshire coalition of towns and cities that under new RSA were allowed to form together to buy power as a one entity. And that requires a number of steps that includes a vote of the people, and before that there has to be a 3-person committee that forms and does certain things that they present to the voters, and then the voters buy into it. Anyway, bottom line is, the current rate that is going to go into effect, shouldn't say current rate, the rate that the coalition is going to be using starting August 1st is 8.6 cents per kilowatt hour. And the reason we went to this third-party company called First Point Power, was that there was a question by the attorney about joining the coalition after he read all the documentation. We paid him a few $100s to read the documentation. That board never followed through to have a non-meeting with the attorney to hear what the issues were that he might have. So there's a long line of exposing issues where the previous board paid money or didn't follow through and lost a lot of money, which I'm going to talk about later. But here's the situation is, I'm expecting that this per kilowatt hour is going to go up now, and it probably went up in June. Do we have a kilowatt
Yeah.
per hour?
Yeah, you'd have to look at the back. I'll give you the.
Yeah,
if
it's
you
one of
want
the
to,
copies we
just as an
received.
example.
So rather than do that now, unless you have the kilowatt hour, because I don't want to go looking for it now.
It's on the back of the,
You have it.
I always bring the actual,
Good.
yeah.
So now I need to know whether I'm looking at kilowatt per hour up through June, or
Does that cover the entire cost of both, cost of electricity and cost to deliver, or just the cost of electricity?
so looking at this,
It's under supply, I think.
there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 different charges that make up.
This is how they bamboozle you.
Starting with customer charge for 3-phase power, the second one is distribution charge, third is regulatory reconciliation adjustment, fourth is pole plant adjustment, third, the next one is transmission charge, stranded customer recovery charge, then distribution charge again,
It's insane.
then 2 that are unlabeled, then 2 transmission charge. So in this, I'm seeing rates.
Wow.
I think you can't.
You can't decipher.
Right, you have to just take the entire rate. Because,
If I, so I'll go back and look at this. We'll take this
because some of those costs are gonna be
I'd very like
variable
to
and
see
some are
what we
gonna be
paid,
fixed.
what the rate was we were paying First Point Power, maybe by looking at a previous month's bill. Well, here's First Point Power. At 0.12. $4,973 kilowatt hours at .123030.
That's the supply.
So, this is gonna take some time.
Okay.
I,
So,
so,
do you think the
That's not mine.
you believe the supply part, which comes from Point Power, is gonna go up?
I think our agreement with, First Point Power has ended last month.
Okay,
And that we're already going back to whatever the current Eversource charge is. So I don't know what the rate was that we were paying last month. I don't know what we're paying now. And I wanna compare that to what I found online last night of the coalition announcing that on August 1st, they'll go to 8.6, which doesn't line up with, they were lower than Eversource. And Eversource is increasing their price too, by the way.
yes, I read that,
Yes,
they're
August
increasing
1st.
their price. But, in other words, let's say the next set of bills, it is what it is, it's, the supplier will still be First Point, just as an
I don't
increased
think
rate?
so. I
Oh, it's
think-
gonna go back to Eversource.
Yes, I think it already has gone to Eversource,
Ah.
that 100% of the July bill, it won't be a split like they did here.
Right.
100% will be on Eversource, whatever the Eversource rate is.
Okay, so this was a limited time agreement that was set up by the prior board, which ended with the July bill.
Yes, that was because it was assumed at that time that we would have followed through, joined the coalition, been using the coalition's rate starting in July. And that didn't happen. We didn't do the coalition. The town of Tamworth did, but we didn't. And a number of other towns joined.
And it's too late to get back on that
It
bandwagon?
would have to,
Madison.
we need to start the process now of dusting it all off and starting over again. This board would have to become educated as to what the coalition needs us to do and what needs to be on the warrant in March. Because if we do everything right, then we can put it on the warrant in March for the voters to accept it or not accept the idea. And if they accept it, then it goes back to the coalition and they vote, and then you're kind of set up, and I believe that's why we ended in June, is that we would be starting at the end of June with the coalition if we had done it
Oh.
last year.
Oh, okay, I see. So in the interim, we just have to suck up the higher costs, research how to get into this coalition to get the lower costs that would hopefully go into effect sometime after next.
Or find out if we can get an agreement with First Point, if their current rate is worthwhile to cover us and forecast, if everything goes right and we do want to join the coalition, what that rate would be. So, I would say, while we work on this, we have to remember we have to put this on our radar to do this.
So I think you're saying that there's a scenario where we could ask to still get supply from First Point without being a part of the coalition.
Correct.
The second part would be, if we get into the coalition, which is still First Point, the rate would then go down again. In other words, it would be the coalition rate.
We'd have to start talking to the coalition again, to the administrators of it, and find out if everything went smoothly and the voters wanted us to join the coalition, when will we switch over? And that would be sometime in 2025. Then we would know that date, we would know to go to First Point and say, from now through the date we expect again to turn over to coalition, can you give us a contract that beats Eversource?
Okay,
That's,
that's the interim step.
That's the
what I'm
interim
saying.
step.
Okay, got it.
so, enough on that for now?
Yeah,
You guys have to come up to speed a little bit on the coalition, but we have a little time to do that. Just another thing on your plate.
right, and I guess the bill that Jennifer handed you, I guess that's the rate, if you saw all bills, that .12, whatever it was, the 5-digit rate per kilowatt hour should be consistent across all our bills. The rate, not the usage,
I would guess so.
yeah. Okay,
So that's just the power part of the manifest we're trying to approve. So now back to the manifest.
Do we get any information from First Point Power? There used to be a monthly thing that he would send. I don't know, have you seen anything
No.
from them? It
No.
should be from Tad Zamian.
I've never seen it.
Okay,
Never saw anything last year,
okay.
every time we did a manifest.
I could do a search.
Yeah, 'cause he's the one that we would get in touch with to see what his current rates available are.
And it might be easier for him to decipher that 16 rate
Yes,
bill and tell us which one it is that he's
right, which
competing
one's
against.
actually ours.
So that was Eversource on this manifest. We have $51 for second quarter payroll reporting. And Albany Service Center had a bill for $760.09 to wire lights and get a truck inspected, if you saw that.
The International?
Mhm.
I think it was at $140 an hour, something like 5 hours. Coleman was the purchase of gravel. First payment we made to the restroom company.
Includes 2 months.
That was for 2 pay periods.
So I'd like to get the word out to people how much we pay for one of those units. We have 5 units. How much we pay for the one unit to be there, and get them thinking about whether they really want us to continue to rent these things year after year, or whether they want us to come up with a old-fashioned solution for the old-fashioned wooden outhouses, which some people seem to say they like those better than blue plastic.
We're paying $110 per unit per 4 weeks. Is that
28 days, yeah,
28
Yeah.
days? Yep.
yeah,
And we agreed to, was it 3 months?
yeah, ends in September.
So 12 weeks?
We discussed Eversource. We have an attorney's bill for $399.50. And we have a Verizon bill for $65, and Cat's bookkeeping service has an invoice for $125. In the state of New Hampshire, DOT has a invoice for $105. Is that for the purchase of fuel, or
That's the fuel.
That's the fob thing?
the fob allows us to buy it, but that's actually purchase of fuel, that's not for fobs, or is it?
No, that's the fuel purchase.
Okay.
But the fuel purchase using the fob
Yeah.
at the dispensary.
At the
That
state.
allows the pump to work
Yes.
for us, yes.
Yeah.
So, any further discussion on approving a manifest of $4,168.27
Looked good.
in
No,
checks?
other than what I brought up before. No,
Yeah.
no problem.
Okay, but you have to keep in mind, we do need to make a payment to Eversource, so we're gonna, once again, start that whole thing about going into
Yeah, I'm not worried about
cancellation and,
2574. If we actually did overpay, that they would
correct,
fix the credit.
right.
And maybe, is it possible that maybe one of these didn't get scanned and
I don't
landed up
know.
in my
I
email?
have to research it, and
Okay.
I can't research
I'm
it.
just proposing that may be a possibility.
So, on the agenda, it's $4,219.46. On the spreadsheet, we're approving checks for $44,168.27, and debt EFTs at $51.19. So, I don't see a number on the spreadsheet that matches what's on the agenda.
Which one are you looking for?
What are you reading?
I'm reading this number off the agenda of $4,219.46.
Oh, the agenda.
And on the
Okay.
spreadsheet, I'm reading,
Yep, but you have, it's a total of the EFT and the checks.
which isn't on the spreadsheet then, right? Is that, I see.
Is on the manifest.
Okay. So I should say we're approving, I should say it off the agenda where it's added up.
Yes.
Correct.
Not just the checks here. So
That's right.
we're approving $4,219.46.
Correct.
All in favor?
Aye.
3-0.
Okay.
Now we move on to the water manifest.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make a motion for discussion that we approve the water manifest of $3,918.63.
Second.
And there is 3 checks. One for Eversource of $818.19. Granite State Analytical that tests the water has an invoice of $161. And then there's a check, we're transferring money to
Yep.
the operating account,
Yep.
out of the water account to reimburse it, because the operating account was paying bills for the water,
Correct.
Yes.
of $2,939.44.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions or discussion on those 3 checks? All in favor of approving the water manifest, say aye.
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 3-0 on the water manifest. So now the time is 9:22. And we'll celebrate the fact that Jeff DiMartino was on a well-deserved vacation. And
Yes.
he's gonna enjoy a continuing heat wave.
Wow.
At least through tomorrow.
Hopefully he and the family are near water. Tony is removing rocks out of the roads this week. He got 10 loads of gravel, and has been, putting gravel down on roads in bad sections as we still wait for the grader to come back, and then we can really go gung-ho into shaping and putting the gravel budget into the roads.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him that if he got into something this week, that he really needed a second person to drive a truck while he loaded whatever he wanted to load into it. I think there's roads that he wants to pull rocks out. So I'm gonna try and make time for him tomorrow and see between getting Hank out and available time to just have one of the Ram trucks available for him to load rock into, and I'll bring it to probably Burn, but we'll see how that works out.
These are rocks that are sticking out of the road?
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I can do for the highway report.
Okay.
No scheduled appearances.
Mm-mm.
Does the administrator have anything to report at 9:23?
No, do not.
Okay, so
May I
we'll,
say that we're getting our check a week from tomorrow from Madison?
the mid-year tax payment, the taxes are due to the town hall by the 18th, which is, today's the 16th, it's in 2 days. Thursday, all the money should be in, if it's coming in on time. And you are hearing that the town is gonna give us a check on the 24th,
For the administrator, yes.
so that's 6 days later, with
Yes.
a weekend in the middle of
It's a
that.
couple of weeks early too, for what they have to do, so it was very good of them to work it out.
Yes.
Plan is that will go into,
Thank you, New Hampshire.
okay,
Did we open up a new account yet? No.
I need a memo from you, which I'll give you.
is there any chance we wanna move it to a new account at Northway?
I think the plan is to move the accounts to Northway, so.
I mean, as we get the town check, if we can open the Northway account in time, how long does it take, you think, to do that?
Couple of days. What we can do is put it in Bank of New Hampshire and just write a check off Bank of New Hampshire for the new account.
Yeah, I just thought if we could avoid doing that, if that was, because it doesn't matter.
Which I thought we were doing because of that water, what's it called? Water.
Assessment fund?
It's part of operations account. It's that, the total amount that I gave you last meeting, there was talk to move that money to basically deplete that, yes, you remember, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
We gotta get the account open first, so.
huh? You gotta open the account first.
Let's open the account, we'll discuss it.
Yep,
Okay.
next week, how's that?
So next week's meeting, the check comes in after that meeting. Okay, good.
The day after, yeah.
So just to review, the long-term plan is to eventually do all our business with Northway
Yep,
Yeah,
and pull all our monies out of Bank of New Hampshire
or spend it down.
or spend it
yeah,
down until we can close out those accounts.
We took a good chunk out of it last week with the $62,000 payment for the Rhineac tank project at the
Mhm.
pressure zone.
We'll still have
So,
some unfinished business with them. That's for another discussion.
actually, isn't it the next discussion with old business at Dawson
it's
Balance?
Dawson, the Dawson balance, I still have to check.
Well, I don't know if you read the email, Dana's
I did.
reply to me,
Mhm.
and
Did you see it?
they agreed to put in the ladder, because it was in the
Mhm.
billing, and they agreed to give us all the documentation. They did not agree to put in a water tap or a pressure gauge. Never, didn't hurt to ask, so my recommendation is, okay, we're gonna hold up that 4,500 until you put in the ladder, give us the documentation.
And the documentation.
Yes,
You
And
do
the
that,
as-bills.
you do that, we'll pay you.
yes.
And then we'll just, at some point, Ian will put the water tap and the pressure gauge in, because he told us last week those are pretty minor things.
Right.
But it would have been nice if,
Wait till we see how much we have to pay Simply Water to put them in before you
Refer to them
just
as
hold on to
minor.
that one.
Oh, okay, well, I'm saying, I'm just saying maybe.
Yep, yep.
I'm not
Alright.
saying definitely.
So
So-
should I void the check in the interim? It's now a couple weeks old.
Does that matter?
I don't know.
I think you should leave the check to show we were ready to pay it. It's
Right.
their
Yeah.
holding, they're holding it up. We
Yeah.
weren't-
Right,
We weren't, we were ready to pay until we found
Right.
out the
Okay,
job wasn't
very
done.
Okay.
yeah, so we should continue to hold that.
Okay,
Okay?
All right, so, I will follow up with Dana, all I did, basically, when he gave me that reply, I just said thank you, but I'll follow up again and say, we will render payment in full upon, the completion of those two items,
Mhm.
and not until then.
okay, great.
Let me know when you're done.
I'm done.
Next is a old business tabled item of 41 Bristol stock with access, with Eidelweiss and access. This is the corner of
Mhm.
Yeah.
41 and
Aging.
so
Right, that we looked
Three of
at
us-
Friday.
the three of us went on site on Friday afternoon
Yes,
and met with the owner who had rented a skid steer and had a pile of road gravel delivered. And we talked to him for quite a while, nice gentleman. And we had a verbal agreement on how he's gonna get that road open again. The next morning, Hank and I went up there and the skid steer was parked, his car wasn't there, but he had done a lot of work after we had left that Friday afternoon. So I haven't seen the end result, but he continued to work on it, I believe he can now drive.
He did send a picture of his Subaru up in the area that was
Yes.
beyond his,
yes, beyond where his
where he was gonna
second
do any
driveway
work.
comes in.
that
Yeah,
which he
his-
said he would do, to prove
Yep.
that you can get up there now.
Was the Subaru jingle of Subaru Summer playing in the background?
No, but Joe Subaru was in, no, that was a Zuzu, Joe Zuzu.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
I'm reaching. Yes, I gotta take a hike up there, but, like I said, I believe it's in good shape now.
So that's all we need to say about 41 Bristol stock?
I think so.
So that was,
Well, then there's still the point of, you're going to
The
have to.
permitting?
Yeah, the permit, thank you.
so we actually need to, you have a picture, is that good enough to say the
Proven
permit?
operations.
Do you wanna walk up there and see it firsthand?
Well, let's first take a look at the picture and then let's discuss that. I got that up here somewhere, let me just find it.
I guess I could say, what I saw Saturday morning, was that good enough? Was that, I would say that he was in compliance with that,
Yes.
from what I saw. And that's only me. It needs at least two of us to agree. And if you could do it from the picture, we'll be all set.
I was gonna say, I looked at the picture and it looked like it was right where he said that he would.
He actually worked further up than he
Fur-
said he was
yep.
going to.
Yeah, just, yeah, he said he was gonna go up a little bit
Interesting.
Yep.
further.
Yep.
Cause he was trying to level off his,
So
his,
what kind of motion do we need for him?
For the
To
operation.
sign it, we're gonna sign the operations permit.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any further discussion on signing the operations permit for 41 Bristenstock?
no?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
3-0. You're an aye, yeah. So at 9:31, we'll go to signature items. Any signature items? 9:41, we'll go to commissioners' reports. I got a Facebook message by a full-time resident that proposed that we do something that separates the Hotwell Drive end of Hotwell from the parking lot. Hotwell Road comes out to Eidelweiss Drive
Yes.
in the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
And some people think that it needs to be delineated as to where the road is and where the parking lot is. Now, this is all done through a Facebook message, which is not the way things work.
Mm-hmm.
You can't send a Facebook message saying there was nearly an accident, and I think that should be separated by some physical barrier and then expect that it's done,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because Facebook comments.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's the issue of reporting things properly,
Properly through the office, yep.
and then there's this issue at hand. So what I will do, I responded by saying, that has been brought up before in years past. I don't think I would have any reason for you to ever heard that before, or maybe you had heard it before.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever hear that before? Just Lynn, I
Mhm.
had, and
And
I
it
said, I
was
think the
dismissed.
issue was plowing,
Mm-hmm.
that separating that area
Yes,
would make it more difficult for
Oh, yeah.
plowing and drainage.
correct.
And then I said, maybe it should be a warrant article. In other words, if she wants to pursue it, then she could get it on the warrant, or have us bring it up when it's
Well,
warrant.
that would be a
time.
petition warrant article then, right?
If she did it, and we didn't wanna do it. But in any case, what I was inferring is, we don't have a budget or a schedule to do that in the middle of which we're waiting for the grader to come back to put the roads back in shape and so.
Right.
So, that's all I'll say about that, is that I got
I'm trying to
that.
understand, what are they asking for?
I'm going to cut and paste that, send it to the office so that you guys can see what was actually said in both back and forth. Because what gets typed into a message doesn't turn into an engineering design as to what,
Right.
in two sentences that may be done through voice interpretation where the words aren't exactly right.
Mhm.
I'll show it to you, and we can discuss it again if we want to next week.
So is it ultimately they're looking to alter the roadway to make it more designated?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
The roadway in the parking lot delineated with
Yeah.
a berm, or it could
Yeah.
be a stone line drainage ditch that people could drive through accidentally. Or maybe-
Then someone else is.
Here we are
yes.
designing
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Right,
Right.
Yeah,
I
So
kinda
I'll
think
send it
this
to
is,
you, and we can decide whether you wanna continue it from there.
I think
I'll
it's-
respond and send you what I responded
Okay.
saying.
I think this is a non-issue. There's always one or two.
Well, we should put it on the record,
Okay,
Yep.
and she should put it on the record properly too.
well, if she does, then,
So I'll work on getting
Right.
both things
Mhm.
on the record properly. We talked about Eversource. You saw, I copied to the office, you may have seen the email where there's no way that they're going to extend the cyber grant for the SCADA
Yes,
Right.
in no uncertain terms.
yes.
So did you also see that we could have gotten over $19,000 in reimbursement for making the SCADA system for the water system more cyber secure? And from what I can see, we bought $1,900 worth of parts. And we bought a firewall that I don't know how much it costs. We need to find the receipts for all of it. The volunteer that worked on this says that he believes that there's an Outlook folder in that long list of inbox
Called?
subfolders.
SCADA?
We have
This
to,
is a SCADA folder.
well, that might be one. There might be one just for this grant called the cyber. Okay, so in there he thinks there's the receipts for everything that was purchased from Amazon that totaled $1,900, and then there should be a Unify, spelled UNIFI. It's a trade name for the device, the firewall.
Mhm.
That might be something that costs from $500 to $2,000. Anyway, we're looking for Unify. We need to get those receipts in because I think we could at least get, she seems to indicate
We can
they
get the
will pay,
19.
they will pay the 19 plus the cost of the firewall. But the most expensive piece would have been the PC server to replace the
Mhm.
Windows 7 PC,
That we haven't purchased yet.
Yeah.
and we can't under the grant.
Correct.
That's gone now. So yet another thing.
Right.
So that's my report on that. We need to dig out those receipts and get them onto the form to send in to the administrator of the grant so she can reimburse us for at least that little amount of the 19,000.
1900 is
Nin-
what we're gonna get out of the 19,000 that we were allowed.
1900
If we can
plus the
prove
cost
it.
of the firewall. The 1900 is not the firewall.
Isn't the firewall in that?
No,
Oh,
No.
that's
okay.
just the Amazon parts.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
That's not the Unify firewall.
okay.
But the bulk of the money that was available to us to do it right didn't get done by the previous board.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I seem to recall the two previous administrators said she was gonna take that on. That was her project.
And that, it became a secret. It was never discussed publicly or in non-public session from that time till today.
Well, yeah, I remember when I was on the water committee and we were discussing it and we were basically shut down, said we got it under control. Okay.
Famous last words. Wasn't that said at the Battle of the Bighorn? Lastly on my list is, I sent an email to Nick Skagel to say that Ian Hayes is gonna be here on August 6th.
has he approved, has he stated he was gonna be here?
It's in the minutes that he says that's a good time to do the
Walkthrough.
walkthrough of all of the facilities after that
Okay.
meeting, cause he's gonna be here, so based on that, I asked Nick if he could make it here on the
Okay.
6th. And also informed him that we'll be discussing not only the PRV, standard PRV design and the PRV for Como therefore, but also, the fact that we haven't been using a sodium bicarb system and that we may need a new implementation of that system.
Is that, we're gonna do the walkthrough as well, right? That same day?
Mhm.
And it'll get Nick re-familiar with all the pump houses?
Well, I didn't say anything about the walkthrough to Nick.
Right,
First, if he says yes, he can make it, then we can say, if you have time, you can join us on the walkthrough. You
Yeah.
probably would enjoy that
Yeah,
as well.
yep.
And that's all I have.
okay, did you wanna talk about 5 Grimsel,
Yes,
since you,
it's not all I have. I talked to the owner of 5 Grimsel, which is the site that we went to last
Yep.
week
Yep.
up on, off Clawson, way down onto Four Cliffs. I think he's in the landscaping business and owns a skid steer. So moving the driveway is not
A big
a
issue?
big deal for him. He says there's a pin there. I said, you should expose it so we can see it, because our job is to make sure that all the driveways are 15 feet from the pin, corner pin, to the neighbor. And I said, so he said that he would locate the pin. I said, even if you can't find the pin, if you drove a stake into the ground, then we could use it as a reference, because we were using the same cut between the lots, the tree line that was left between the lots, and show us where this 15 feet. And explain that he asked how long he has with the permit to actually build the driveway. And I said, you really need to read the ordinance. It says 90 days from the time we issue the construction permit. You have until you construct it, then we come out to look to give you an operations permit. Long story short, he has no problem making it so that we can see the pin, and he's going to send us an email saying he's agreeing to relocate them out to that driveway and is asking for an extension. I said, if we get that email, most likely the board will extend it because they see and understand it, and all they want to see is where this pin is, which is the way we discussed it. So that's that. We'll wait for the email to come in, probably approve his construction permit when we see the email.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else that should have been in my commissioner's report? You're up.
I'm up. Other than, I keep, one of those things you keep honing down to exact, and we're not exact, but what will definitely be happening is the electrical work on the Summit Cabana next week. But the exact day has not been determined. I think it's gonna be Wednesday. But I was talking with Danny Brown yesterday, and he was gonna definitely let me know. It's gonna happen, no matter what. It's gonna happen next week.
Okay.
And then we can keep moving from there.
Now, when you have another contractor that comes in and does
The doors.
doors, it's
I also put those two contractors together so the one who's gonna do the doors and the security knows where the lights are going and can figure out, make sure they're not, the electrical guy isn't doing something that the other contractor can't work around. And so they've worked out a plan, so it all worked together.
I think we need to put some snow guards up on the middle roof of DPW 2, where the side entrance door has that little roof that really doesn't protect personnel from going in and out of that door from a snow slide off the roof. So just over that entranceway, I'd like, if that contractor has the time, if you can remember to ask him if he would do something like that.
Okay, are those the things that break up the snow, or
They hold it.
they hold it?
They hold it from sliding off until it actually melts. So just over the doorway, I put them on my roof, they work great.
Okay,
I'll bring in an example of them. I bought metal ones and I bought plastic ones. The plastic ones are better, believe it or not. And I'll show you. So I'm only bringing it up to ask this
yeah,
contractor if he could do that far, if he has the time, and can he get it before snow flies.
sure.
He can at least look at it while it's in the village.
I just need to know what those things are called, about snow guards or
Yep.
roof
Snow guards.
snow guards. And that's just on the door over DPW 2.
Yep. If we went halfway up to hold this triangle of snow just over where it wants to slide down and kill our DPW employees
Okay,
coming in and going out of the building.
yeah,
It's usually when you slam the door behind you,
we can't afford
it's
that.
just enough to
To push it.
release.
Yep.
Perfect timing to step out from under the cover of that little roof and have your neck broken.
Yep. There was a plot.
We all set with you for?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm just
Okay,
thinking about the
read
evil
just your
genius
seat. Now
plot.
it's Nancy's turn.
Since it hasn't been brought up yet, we'll take this opportunity to do so. A couple of weeks ago, we sent around a second version of the profit and loss, budget versus actual. We haven't actually discussed one of these.
That's right, we have.
And looked at it. Now, I do understand there's still missing items. That some of the payroll's probably not in this report that we have here. And the warrant articles that were approved this year are not in here yet. We will have to have them in before we get a first bill from the cabana. So that when those bills come in, they get properly assigned to the warrant article and not to the budget line. So there is still some work to be done on it, but overall, it really doesn't look terrible.
This took us up
For
to
being
June
the high
20th.
side of 50%. We did this through the end
time.
of June.
Seeing how they were more than halfway through
We're
the year.
moving halfway through the year.
Yeah,
So, and I don't know if you have actually had a chance to
I have.
to
and,
look
yeah,
at
I was
this,
ba-
or if there were
basically
things
looking at the
that.
percentages, but I gotta take a closer look at it. I was
Things
concerned
that-
about the,
Mhm.
you know, actual spent to budget and what percentage of that we've expended.
Mhm.
And it looked good, but like you said, until we get these other line items put in.
Yeah. And again, we know that the payroll is gonna be okay, as far as how it was put together, with the money that was set, because we had the budget was set up to include the raises and, everything that has happened so far this year. So that's not, we would like to see the actual number, but that'll be coming forward. But overall, we're still only at low side of 30%,
Okay.
for general government. Looking at the,
So we know that there are some more expense line items that need to be added, put into their proper chart of account line items. So there's some catching up to do. It seems at some point, once we know that that's all done, and we have a latest and greatest income statement that, to the best of our abilities, everything's captured up to that particular date, I imagine we'd have a separate board sit down to review everything with the eye looking ahead to the
This-
budget for next year.
this report is always gonna be backwards. This one, this particular report, because it's year to date, the date that it's put together. The one that will show forward is the cash report, and that is something that, I don't know if you have a prior one that we could
Cash
up to
flow?
date, a cash flow, so we can get working on getting that, and that's the one that will show any upcoming insurance payments. I know we have a huge insurance payments coming up. So,
Loan payments.
yeah, loan payments and stuff like that will all be captured through the end of the year
Mhm.
in that report. So it's two separate,
Well, that's
Reports.
a cash flow projection.
yes,
Right,
yes,
right.
yes. Whereas this is the actual versus what we have budgeted. And right now, looking at the highway, specifically looking at fuel, gravel, we're at 37%, just under 37%. I know we've bought a lot in the last few weeks, but I think overall, we're still in good shape for keeping our eyes on this budget, because this is what we're bound to
Yeah.
for this year.
Right.
What
Right.
about legal, do you think?
Oh, legal's way
Legal's
over. But other
Legal's-
areas are way
legal's
under. So it's a balance.
Yeah.
And has that captured the 14,000 we lost anywhere?
That would probably be from cash flow.
Yeah, that's not a budget
Yeah, that's not a budget, that wasn't.
Wasn't budget.
we-
yeah,
Darn.
yeah.
We didn't budget
Yeah,
any
it's not,
loss.
it's not a budget.
We don't have an account for stolen bank
Right.
money.
Correct,
Expense line item theft.
correct,
yes.
that's something that's gonna affect the
So that's
cash
what's going,
flow.
cash flow.
Right.
It's gonna, it'll be show in the cash flow, but it won't show in the budget.
Yeah.
And where is legal, just to take a quick look at where it was at that point?
Nancy's doing numbers. Nancy's doing numbers.
So I didn't.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay, I was gonna say, I'm not seeing it.
But this
I know
is,
it's here.
but this is an accrual income statement. So if we have an accrual income statement, let's say it ends let's call it the 7 months ended July 31st. Then we have a balance sheet, which is also accrual, dated July 31st, 2024. Those together give us the cash flow to date, but not forward. Right? Okay, I'm just saying, that's one way of doing it. How much have we actually spent to date? Ideally, if this was a cash basis income statement, that would be cash flow to date, but it's accrual, so.
It's accrual because that's the way we're required to run our
Right,
budgets.
there's no problem, I'm just saying, you can get to a cash flow between your income statement and balance sheet, but again, that's just year to date. Everything else is a projection,
Yes,
okay.
yes, and that is the way
Estimate
that is the way we
expenses.
live.
Right,
They
yes,
don't always work out that way, however, it's the best we can do.
right.
Right.
Right. But I guess my original point was, we have to start thinking ahead to the 2025 budget, what we're gonna propose. Mark, I recall at one point you said you used to, the village district at one point in the good old days, I should say, would start educating the voters
In October.
in October or November.
We'd meet with
of
them in
what-
November and say,
Right, this is what we're thinking.
here are your options, which direction would you like to see us work on between now and the meeting? And that's what we did.
Right. Well, between now and there's gonna be the budget meeting that comes before the annual meeting.
That's in January.
Right.
So by January, we had already fleshed
Mhm.
out what we heard in November.
Okay,
Yes,
okay. So all the stuff we're talking about, we have to have everything up to date plus, the cash flow projection as well, to take us through the end of the year.
yeah, and this is something that we should be reviewing monthly.
Right,
And this is the first time we're actually really getting into any of these numbers at all. So it is something that I would like to see the board get into a more regular review of the profit and loss versus budget versus actual and the cash flow projection for the rest of the year. So just bringing them up.
yeah, but I'm saying that this meeting is not the time for that. We gotta find another time to get together and just,
We need to.
No, it will be during one of these meetings.
oh, really? Okay,
Yes,
all right.
this is
I was
all
gonna
public
ask-
information and.
Oh, okay.
Should we drive a stake in the sand and say when it is that we'll have QuickBooks ready to give us the full profit and loss statement that we need with the warrant articles and the payroll correct? That might take some time, huh?
It,
If we're shooting for that October meeting with the voters, then I think we absolutely have to have that all updated by the end of August.
The later you get into the year, the more you have to manage the budget.
correct,
Yes.
because that's when you start noticing things that are awry, things that are over budget, and, okay, so since this line is over budget, we need to make sure that the bottom line is gonna be okay, because the bottom line is what we are bound to,
Yep,
so,
okay.
Did anybody see if the ad ran Saturday?
Yep.
It did, okay.
good.
And Jennifer, I'll stop by the office and see if we can go through the computer and find that profit and loss. I know Alexis was doing. it.
Cash flow, you mean?
Cash flow.
Cash flow. Cash flow.
I have all the copies of the cash flows from last year, so
Oh, well then, we'll just talk to Mark.
I'll dig out the latest one that was done last year and send
Remember
that.
she did it real little bitty and we can certainly fix that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Maybe I'll find one that you can read.
Yes.
And then we can take that as our template and going forward, we can fill in what we've done for this year.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so we were on
Commissioners report?
Commissioner's report, Nancy's Commissioner's report. So we done with profit and loss statement for now?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I just wanted to, like I said, give the couple of numbers right there that were okay right now.
Yep.
As far as everything looks good, but that we do have to have further discussions on this.
What else do you have?
That was it.
All right.
Are you gonna talk about
Oh.
that?
Okay, the driveway on 23 Hotwell. I do have a couple of pictures. There are a couple of cars up there, on that driveway. We did get some correspondence saying that it's not being used as a driveway, but there is some gravel that has been added into the ditch line.
Since you and I looked at it?
Yes. So, I think we need to get back in touch with the owner, and I can set up a letter for next
Yeah,
week.
She's expecting a phone call.
Oh, okay.
Do we have a picture of the new gravel?
I do, I don't have it
That's good. Okay.
right here, but I do have one.
Great.
We'll get it sent around so that you guys see it too.
All set? Do you have any more for Nancy to report?
No.
Okay, so at 9:57, we'll move on to correspondence, and the first bullet on correspondence is the volunteer lake assessment program document.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lengthy document. There was no clear summary telling
No,
you.
not at all.
There is no clear summary. You have to look at each of the spots where they drew water and then just sort of look at them. Now, there were a couple of E. coli mentions, but again, it's not clear to see how close it was to any of the beaches or if it was compliant or non-compliant. I
Right,
couldn't.
they gave no ranges, which is acceptable. I did compare it when I was in the office. I asked Jennifer for the year before, and I noticed that the E. coli number was about twice the amount as it was last year. But again, with nothing telling us what the upper range is,
Right.
what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, and no layman's description of what all this means.
Yeah.
Has it always been like that?
Yeah. These are the way these reports come in.
If there was really something serious that stood out, would they have said something?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so this is not a case of no news is good news.
Right.
It's no news may still be bad news. We just don't know.
So
Yeah.
I think we should put the report on the website.
On the website.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't
'cause-
know if we may need a motion to do that, or whether we just do that anyway, but,
Yeah, I think we just put it on.
so we'll do that. We'll put
Yeah,
it up there.
we'll put it up there.
Next week we'll announce that
Yeah.
we've done it.
Because there are people that know things about ponds and the life of ponds that might pick up on things like the phosphorus and the turbidity and what that means from prior years to current as to how the overall health of the ponds is. I am not that expert.
No, none of us are, and that's why. What good are these if they don't give like an executive summary that the layman can understand?
There are a lot of ducks in Eidelweiss.
14 this morning on Little Shore Beach.
Oh,
2
my.
mornings ago,
They're responsible.
I was walking the dog on
They're a big
Big
part
Lou,
of it.
and as we came across the top of the culvert, the ducks started shooting out of the culvert. And I
Wow.
didn't think it was gonna end.
Oh
I
my.
lost count at 14 ducks.
That's a lot of
It's like a machine that was just making ducks.
They're not as bad as the geese, though. Luckily, we haven't had too many geese on.
So we're ready, that's the VLAP correspondence. We have a correspondence from 14 Little Shore, or regarding 14 Little Shore? 14 Little Shore.
Yeah, there was a washout in that area, wasn't there? That got reported, or?
What was the house we inspected right in the corner, right just down from Eidelweiss? Was that? What number was that?
We didn't inspect anything on Little Shore.
We didn't inspect.
No, we haven't looked at anything.
Oh, no,
on
no, that
Little
was a
Shore.
little loop. Excuse me, I'm
Yeah.
off. Okay, 14 Little Shore.
14 Little Shore was the gentleman that, I'm sorry, I'm getting them confused, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Takes me a second to start to picture where any driveway that we've seen in the last, have we looked at 32 driveways in the last 3 weeks?
At least.
Yours is an even numbered house,
No,
so it's on your side of the road.
no, it's on the other side of the road. I'm 33, so.
Okay, you're odd numbered. So,
Is it the house with the small U driveway?
14, so yeah, it has to be close to Eidelweiss Drive.
Yeah.
It would be
is there a
very.
picture of it? Is that
I
what you're looking
I don't know. I printed something out, but I'm not sure.
So
This
let's-
one belongs
at? Let's
to-
hold 14 for next week then.
I think this is 14.
Let me look.
I thought that was Grissom.
Or that could be Grissom.
I think that's Grissom. So I'm looking at a map here.
It says this is
I don't know,
Crescent.
I forwarded stuff to you guys. I might not have printed it all myself, but
Yeah.
you did receive something on it.
Yeah, and
If you make the right onto Little
Seeing
Shore from
something on it.
Eidelweiss, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's the 5th house in.
That's the potato chip guy? No.
That's
I wondered,
the 5th house in, just, that's. I wonder, let's do this, go to satellite.
Is he the gentleman that has that letter that was done quite a while back? About having the DPW take care of his portion of his driveway because it gets washed out.
I think that might be it, but we need to be sure that's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Right.
You have an email, I sent it yesterday.
Yes, I saw that, it was from 2017.
Yeah,
What was the title of the email? Little Shop?
has an attachment.
Hold on, I'm gonna find it. Here we. Okay, here's the letter, right here.
Oh, yeah. This is where they said they were gonna put a culvert and they were gonna watch this?
It's a
So,
letter that was done way back, I guess, and he
Yep.
keeps bringing it
Mike
up
Ralph
every
and
year
Arlen,
apparently.
but that's not Brandon's name here.
Correct.
No,
It was a previous owner,
Uh-huh. So we need to look at this because Jeff brought this up to me.
is this
right?
Brandon's property now?
Yes.
Oh,
So we need to look at this with, this is gonna get continuously, Jeff says this is continuously washed out, that the village is gonna keep paying and paying and paying to fix the mouth of this driveway because it's just not proper.
well, was anything ever done?
Yeah, every year.
Every year they have to
Apparently
fix it.
something is done to fix it.
That's the problem. Is that this letter, again, wasn't fixing the problem, they just walked away from the problem and left it.
right,
This is what we have to get out of the business of, is
correct.
having problems that we have to go back and fix
Mhm.
on a regular basis. Even though Mike Smith decried that we go out and fix things right the first time. Which in Boston they would say that's bullshit.
Can you say that on camera?
Yes,
Everybody does.
the President of the United States used to say that
Ah.
when he was in office.
Well, go back to the jokes.
So I think we need to,
Take a look at it.
you need to look at this and
Mhm.
agree on a permanent solution that's gonna cost money to do right. And it may change the nature of his driveway, which is gonna be a problem. But we have to list out our choices and then get the input from the DPW, who's been doing this for a few years,
Mhm.
keeps buttering, Jeff is the term, buttered the mouth of that driveway.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotta
I
figure-
would
gotta
like
figure-
to see the DPW get out of the fixing the edges of driveways business.
Who sent this email? That had
The
current on?
Brandon,
Yeah,
Okay. So, I think we should acknowledge that we got the letter
mhm,
and
Mhm.
say
which
that
I have,
we're planning on doing a site inspection of 3 commissioners
okay,
and the DPW staff. And we'll let them know when we're doing it.
okay,
Yeah, because Jeff won't be available till next week,
Right.
so it'll be at least sometime next week before we do it.
And we know when Brandon's done work, because we see the truck.
I can call you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, he could tell us when he's
When he's gonna be available.
available. And so next on our agenda is, if you captured the notes you want on that,
yeah, I did,
6 Grissom, foot of driveway gets washed out.
yeah,
that's the pictures,
picture.
yeah.
That's the picture, and
Mhm.
we can look at that one too.
Yes. So,
And again, this is something that the DPW addresses for this guy every time he puts a call in.
this is what we're trying to fix for everybody, for all the taxpayers. So acknowledge his communication and say
Yeah.
the commissioners and the DPW will be out to look and make decisions on this, weigh all the
Okay.
options.
Yep.
Next bullet is classics homeowner looking to have dirt removed from, and this is class 6,
C. Spragamo, right?
it would be class 6 Como,
Oh, I thought this guy was
not
on
Como, class 6 Omega.
Omega, okay.
Mega.
This is where the very first class 6 lot owner plowed the class 6 road to get to this non-permitted driveway that they cut.
Mm.
And evidently somebody used as a dump,
Is that
Once
right on
they-
the right?
yes?
Uh-huh,
Okay.
And in the plowing of the driveway, plowing the class 6 road several times, when the ground was soft, he took earth from the road with it, gravel, or I'll say gravel, and it mounded up. Now lot owners further down want that removed because they can't drive down to their class 6 lots, past where this guy ended his plowing, just past his unauthorized driveway.
So that's really the response that we need to go after whoever did that, dumped that stuff there.
So
How would you,
So I think what we should do is, our backhoe should remove the restriction from everybody that wants to drive to their lots. By law, they have to be able to drive to their
Right.
lot. The cost of repairing the road, which was damaged by that first lot owner, can be pursued as we pursue proper permitting of the driveway. But I've learned to not tell people to fix things and then find out that they didn't fix it the right way, that we have to fix it the way we want, and then charge them a fair price for having done it.
so you're proposing that the DPW, like, take it down,
Remove it.
or remove it? Wow,
Here's an idea, can we take whatever they're gonna move?
They
and
might be
actually-
able to spread it back to where this plow had ripped it up to move it to where it is.
That's what I was thinking, too, just put it all
It's
into
pretty
that
rough in
lot
there,
that's,
'cause you move sticks and rocks with
yeah.
it, and it could be leveled back out, so.
so I don't think any more work has been done on that for quite some time.
No.
I'd say put it all back there.
Into the lot?
He took it out of there.
I think
Let's
it's
give it-
easier for us to spread it back onto the road.
Okay,
yes.
I say give it back to him, and also pursue him for whatever, driveway permits and whatever
Yes.
else.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't have anything from, on Omega,
Nothing.
so, we'll get the no permit letter put together for him, and,
So I'll make a motion that, the DPW back drag the mounds that the plow created on Class 6 Omega back uphill onto the road. Back
Second.
drag. Any further discussion on that? I'll modify that saying that we notify the person that's requesting this, that this is what we voted, that the DPW is gonna do that. Maybe next week. Any further discussion on that? All in favor?
I,
Aye.
3-0 on that vote to back drag. And did we talk about 23 hot
Yeah,
plow?
we did,
Nancy?
Nancy.
We did.
Yes,
We did,
that.
yep, that's all done.
So at 10:11, we look to see if there's public appearances and public comments. Anybody on the grandstands?
Jeez.
And so we voted to go into non-public session in the 91A to protect the reputation, which requires a roll call vote. Nancy, how do you vote to go into non-public session?
I.
How do you vote?
Aye?
I vote aye also, so